has come. For 300 years, we prepared. We grew stronger. While you rested in your cradle of power.
What can comics do to save themselves from the fact that in April, all of the top 20 adult graphic novels were manga? What kind of cool Japanese-inspired book will they come up with to combat this inevitable takeover of their industry? What are they going to do? Are they going to maybe look at Demon Slayer? Something that by itself sold more than the entire American comic book industry. Maybe they'll do that. That might be a good idea. It could work. You know, we'll come up with something like Demon Slayer. That'd be a good idea. But wait. Here's the real killer. This is the book that's going to take over the industry right here. Emilia Clarke is getting into comic books. And her debut comic book follows a single mom whose secret power is her period. By the way, thank you at Captain Aqua 18 for the tag on this one. Totally would have missed it. This is absolutely hilarious. So this is a real thing. I'm not making this up. This is actually coming. And the details are quite funny. So this is kind of the problem with mainstream comics. So the thing that is quoted here by Emilia Clarke is that half of comic book readers are women. I don't know where she's getting that from, but let's just say that it's true. Maybe it is. I don't know. They're reading books that are probably, I don't know, probably a little more geared, or they're reading it for the same reasons that men do. Because they want to see big, like, godlike men and women battle people. That's what they want to see then. And if it's already working, why would you retool it? Like, why are you trying? Like, this never works. And you know who has the right idea on this is the guy who created the Yakuza video game series. He got asked a question because it has a huge female audience, or at least a sizable one, and they really love that game. And he got asked the question, well, now that you know that there's this female audience, do you ever consider changing things to bring more in? And he says, no, obviously there's a reason they like it. Why would I change it? And they're going to read it anyway or whatever. But his point was, like, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing that makes it successful, and it's open for anybody, basically. But she's going to make a character. It's about a single mom, and her powers manifest through her menstrual cycle. I asked two women before I made this video. I said, you're the target audience for this. Does this appeal to you? Would this get you to want to read it? And I quoted this paragraph right here. A key identifier for the character is that all of her powers manifest from her menstrual cycle. The bloating, the hair growth, the mood swings, the acne, all of it. We hate that when it happens, speaking for myself and everyone I've ever met who has had a period. What if we turned that around and made the period something that we can feel as this unique, crazy, superhuman thing that happens to our body? When Maya is scared, she goes invincible. When she's angry, she has superhuman strength, and she can swing like Spider-Man from her armpit hair, Clarke says. I asked the women, does that appeal to you? Could that get you to read this comic? And both of them laughed. One laughed hysterically and said that that's gross, and the other said, hell no. Now, that's a very small survey pool, I'm sure, but I would imagine that, that they're not alone on this. Like this is the problem with comic books, okay? And this is I'm going to go over more of this, but I wanted to start this off here. Like, really, like, she can swing like Spider-Man from her armpit hair. This is a real thing that this character is going to do. Do you think this is going to appeal to anybody? No. Okay. This is the problem with the comic book industry. This is why top 20 comics, all graphic novels of manga. Demon Slayer outsells the entire comic book industry. Why? Because of shit like this. Okay, nobody wants to see a woman or even a man swinging like Spider-Man with their armpit hair. Okay, that's just gross. Nobody Nobody wants to read that. This is going to be a disaster. It's going to sell off of her name alone for a minute, and then people are going to stop reading it. Yet this is a trend that's been going on for a minute. Keanu Reeves making a comic book. That comic book has all of the aspects that men are looking for in comics. This has all the aspects that nobody's looking for in a comic. So this is going to be a huge disaster. And it's going to be funny to watch and follow. I'll probably pick this comic up just so that I can make fun of it. All right, so here's her reasonings for wanting to get into the comic book industry. I read a lot of fantasy novels full of rich worlds as a child, like Lord of the Rings. That was always the place my imagination would gravitate toward. Later on, when I went to a Comic-Con for the first time at 22 with Game of Thrones, I was amazed at what I saw, almost entirely men. Later, as tides turned in the industry and the Me Too movement emerged, I began to look at the community through those eyes, and it was arresting, she said. She apparently felt that comic book shops were male only, which is BS. And this led to Mom, Mother of Madness, and it will publish in July from Image Comics, co-written by Clarke and another comic book professional. Not too familiar with her work. I guess she used to write some Batman stuff. She was writing Power Rangers for a minute. I didn't read that run. From what I gather, she's an okay writer. She's not bad. Just the problem is this idea is ridiculous and stupid, and it's not going to save or push comics up in any way whatsoever. So she says, I've done my research. I found that 16% of comic book creators are female, according to a 2019 study, and only 30% of comic book characters are women. On the other hand, roughly half of comic book buyers are female, something that did not sit right with me in that exchange, and all these signs were telling me to go make my own. Mom is centered around Maya, a busy single parent whose life is upended by the discovery of superpowers. So she's a single mom that's got to get stuff done. This was born from the idea of a single mother with superpowers. She couldn't just have super strength or something. Like, how about invulnerability? You could still have this come from her menstrual cycle, I guess, if that's what you wanted to do. But, like, just the ideas that's going from now. So she does have superhuman strength and all this other stuff, but just the ideas behind this are ridiculous. Like, this right here kills it. She can swing like Spider-Man from her armpit hair. Good intentions, I'm sure, here, right? I'm sure there's some good intentions. We want to make this comic that we think women will join, but problem is, like, no one's going to get down on this. They tried a book like this before. I forget the name of it. Man. I can't remember the name of it, but basically, like, it was the idea that women were turning into, like, these werewolves once they go through puberty and they start turning into werewolves or something. And it was just a weird concept, and that book, like, fizzled out and didn't go anywhere. This is essentially the same idea, except they're trying to make an actual superhero book out of it, and it's just ridiculous. So it'll be funny to watch this crash and burn. I'm sure it's going to be a shit show, and I will be following it when it comes out. But what do you think about all this? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Also, if you would please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that, and subscribe if you're new.